Thanks for coming. Thank you. This is awesome. Would have been weird if no one would have showed up. My name is Clint, for those who don't know, founder of Beehive Startups. So I had this plan to give like a TED-style talk where I was walking around the stage and I had PowerPoint slides. And then I realized we're organizing this huge event. I don't have any time to do that. So I wrote something, and then we're going to bring the governor in. Just want to share kind of a personal story and kind of get us started today. So when I was 14 years old, I was getting ready for my first ever after-school dance in a small bedroom I was forced to share with my older brother, Chad. And Chad, who is 2 years older than I am, he was peppering me with all sorts of random advice. You see, he'd been to a lot of after-school dances in his time. He knew how to act around girls, how to approach the whole dancing aspect of a dance. His advice: don't dance, I guarantee you'll look like an idiot. And how to act cool without making it look like you're trying to act cool. Just as I was about to walk out the door, Chad lowered his voice, looked me in the eye, and bestowed upon me sage words of wisdom I'll never forget as long as I live. He said, just try not to act like you're adopted. That's the biggest thing. Don't even mention it to anyone. It's embarrassing. As my parents drove me to the dance, I remember pondering Chad's disheartening admonition. How does a person who's adopted act like they're not adopted? It's easy for the non-adopted to spot the adopted. And what's wrong with being adopted? I spent the entire dance silently standing next to my friends, trying my best not to look adopted. The whole night turned out more awkward than, well, a normal 14-year-old kid attending his first ever after-school dance while unsuccessfully fighting the devastating effects of puberty. Chad and I share the same birth mother, but we have different biological fathers. Luckily, we were never separated and spent some time in the same foster home under the care of a woman who to this day we affectionately call Grandma Olive. Chad used to tell me the story of the day we went from living with Grandma Olive to living with real-life parents. Chad would say, you were scared to death when we pulled into some stranger's driveway, and Grandma Olive said, we're here, boys. I remember holding your hand as we walked up to the door. You were bawling your eyes out. He said, it's okay, though. I was crying a little, too. I spent a fair amount of my childhood, especially my teenage years, angry. Angry at my biological mother for abandoning me when I was just a baby, angry at my biological father for not caring, angry at my parents for caring too much, and remarkably angry at myself for getting adopted in the first place. I was mad. I knew Chad felt the same way. It always felt like the only thing we ever really had was each other. No matter what happened, Chad was my real brother. We shared the same blood. That was important somehow. He was the only person in the entire world who looked like me, who understood what I was going through. Of course, I look back on it now and I see it all differently. I had the privilege of meeting and getting to know my biological mother before she passed away recently. I'm grateful she chose to give me up for adoption. Must have been an impossibly difficult decision to make. I appreciate my biological father, who I've also met, for realizing he didn't have the capacity to take care of me and for understanding I'd be better off with different parents. I'm forever indebted to my mom and dad for choosing to be my parents. They did a fantastic job, especially when you consider they didn't have to make me their responsibility in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, my parents are here today. I want to publicly thank them for always being there for me. Mostly, though, I'm thankful for my brother Chad. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just grateful I was able to be adopted and to have an older brother by my side to share in the experience I realize now was a very lucky break. Having someone by your side to share in your experience is why we created StartFest. Starting a company is hard. Raising money is hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Having a mentor, a peer, or just a friend by your side going through the experience together can make the hard times just a little bit easier and the good times a hell of a lot sweeter. I hope you use this festival as an opportunity to share your experience and learn to appreciate the experiences of others. May StartFest always be inclusive and open to all. Utah is an amazing place. We're living in an exciting era for tech and innovation. The Beehive State startup and tech communities converged upon Provo this week. Let's make the most of it. Let's figure out how to include more women and minorities in our community. Let's figure out how to be a state at the forefront of STEM education. Let's finally, once and for all, step out of the shadow of Silicon Valley and embrace what makes us unique, what makes us different, what makes us worse, and what makes us better. This week, let's celebrate the fact that we are Utah. Hell, let's just celebrate and share some experiences. Welcome to StartFest.